ओम ज्ञानातिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनामिने गौरतुसे नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा. So we welcome everyone for today's discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So today we are discussing from Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 and verse 31. We are going to start today. So till yesterday we just completed the first, or rather we can say second section of chapter 2, Science of Soul. So as soon as Arjuna surrenders fully to Supreme Lord Krishna and desired that the Lord should impart transcendental knowledge in order to free him from all lamentation. The Supreme Lord very mercifully, first of all, gave the most basic, fundamental, at the same time most sublime and important knowledge, without which the spiritual life has no, actually, practically no basis. Spiritual life without this most fundamental knowledge that I am not this body, I am not this mind, I am a spirit soul, completely different, aloof from these bodily designations and bodily identification. So, without this knowledge, the so-called spiritual life and performance of devotional service, practically it has no value. Why no value? It has value, it has got value, but it has got only material value. Material benefit one can get, but spiritual no value. Why? Because he will remain is attached to the material things, material world. So he'll not be able to even think or even contemplate or even desire to uplift himself from the entanglement of material existence. There are many people, rather we can say in this age, uh, especially in this holy land of Bharat Varsha, there are many religious people, but most of them, almost more than 95, 98% people, those who are, this is the most fundamental knowledge that one should not identify with this body. So as long as one misidentifies, this misidentification is there. So even the practice of religion and practice of devotional service will not have a complete and full benefit. That's why Lord Krishna very mercifully gave us this knowledge. This knowledge of science of soul is very, very important. Why? Because only this knowledge can enable a person to develop the desire to become free from the attachment for matter. Because because we have been living in this material world since time immemorial. There is no record history that how many lifetime we have been enjoying and suffering in this material world. So because of so prolonged period of association with matter, this has created such a great impression in the heart of the living entity towards matter, that natural attachment is there, that it appears to be natural to remain attached to material things, material sense enjoyment appears to be a natural phenomena. Just see, but actually it is not natural for the living entity. It is unnatural, abnormal. But because we have been in this material world since time immemorial and enjoying and suffering in various kinds of bodies, so this attraction for sense enjoyment has become so natural that it is very difficult to get rid of it. So practically there is no possibility for a person to become free from the entanglement of this material attachment, misidentification, this material attachment, and to control mind and senses. It's an impossible task until unless one understands his real position. That's why all elsewhere in the Bhagavatam it is explained. All other attempts in order to free us from material entanglement and all other attempts to control our mind and senses are futile, are of no value if one if those attempts are not based on the principle of uh, this self-realization, science of soul. If one cannot understand, one cannot understand that I am not this body, I am completely different entity than this material elements, material body, then there is no possibility that he can get rid of material attachments or he can control his mind and senses. It's not possible. That's why Krishna, in order to free Arjuna's lamentation, Arjuna's anxiety, Krishna very thoroughly analyzed, diagnosed that Arjuna's lamentation and distress, depression was because of his attachment, material attachment. And this material attachment is there because of Dehat Buddhi, because of misidentifying with the body. That's why the first and foremost uh, work Arjuna has to do is that he has to understand that he does not belong to this material world. First of all, this has to understood very clearly that we are not at all this body, mind. We are completely aloof from this bodily designations. Then only further things can be practiced. That's why in 20 verses, Krishna very nicely, analytically explained the science of soul till verse number 30. We discussed till yesterday. Now, the next section, new section begins from this particular verse, verse number 31. So now Arjuna, he gave five, six reasons why he should not fight, and all very reasonable, logical in terms of material conception, of course. But if somebody analyzes Arjuna's logic and reasonings, whatever reasons and logics he gave for not fighting from a spiritual viewpoint, then one can very clearly understand that it's such a foolish argument, such a foolish nonsense logic and reason Arjuna gave. And that's what Krishna told in the very first verse. When Krishna started speaking science of soul, in the very first verse, Krishna spoke the same thing. Asocyanan vasocastvam pragyavadam shabhasase gatasuna gatasumsha nanu sochanti pandita. You are talking like a very learned man, but my dear Arjuna, don't mind. But you are a fool number one. Why it is so? Because all your learning, all your logic, reasoning, everything is just based on this material body. That's all. And the basic thing, Arjuna, you must know that you are not this body. Finish. If everything is based on this logic, every endeavor, learning is based on matter, then everything finished. Simply by knowing this fact that I am not this body. It's so simple. It's a modern day big scholars, learned people having big degrees, PhD, doctors, scientists, intelligent, and they have done so much big research, but all foolish. Why foolish? Why we can say that? We don't say. Krishna is saying. Krishna is saying, Sochyananva sochastam pragyavadam bhasase. Nanu sochanti pandita. Those who are actually learned, they know that we are not this body, we are a spirit soul. So they they may be speaking big words, but if it is based on this bodily identification, then it is simply foolishness. So sober person, those who are actually intelligent, those who know the science of soul, they do not take it seriously. Rather, they understand that this is another kind of illusion. So in this way, Arjuna was in this illusion. So the first reason Arjuna gave why he doesn't want to fight, that was that he was feeling excessive attachment after seeing his kinsmen and relatives. So, in order to refute the first reason, or in order to free Arjuna from this um, first cause reason why he doesn't want to fight, that means excessive attachment for his kinsman. Krishna mercifully spoke signs of soul, which Arjuna, when he heard, then he understood, and he understood that no one belongs to me. Uh, I am different entity, and they are all different. We are not this body. So in this way, Krishna relieved Arjuna from this material attachment by speaking signs of soul. Now, the second reason what Arjuna gave, if you remember, Arjuna says, "Papam evashrayedasman hatva etataina." My dear Krishna, if we kill these people, that will acquire sinful reaction. Will get sin after killing our own kinsmen and relatives, although they are aggressor, but still. So by killing our kinsmen and relatives in this battlefield, will be suffering in the hell. That was Arjuna's second reason. So in this particular section, which begins from verse number 31 and till verse number 38, I think, in 8 verses, Krishna speaks that avoiding to fight in the battlefield will give you sinful reaction, Arjuna. Then you will suffer. Then you will have to go to hell. It's not that by fighting you will go to hell, but by avoiding to fight, you are going to go to hell. You will go to hell by avoiding to fight. Because then Krishna based uh, his reasons on these verses. Krishna emphasis on Kshatriya dharma. So although this Kshatriya dharma is a material dharma, but still. So first of all, in the previous section, Krishna spoke from a spiritual point of view. But now Krishna is going to speak from material point of view also. That if Arjuna, even if you think materially, then also if you think about your material dharma, then also if you do not deserve to avoid this fighting. That is what is explained in this particular one. Swadharmam api chaveksha na vikampitam arhasi dharmadhyayudhyashreyo anyat kshatriyasya na vidyate. Considering your specific duty as a kshatriya, even if you think yourself this body, still Arjuna, you are a kshatriya. You are a kshatriya. So considering your specific duty as a kshatriya dharma, which is material dharma, bhautik dharma, still, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles. And so there is no need for hesitation. So for the time being, Krishna is telling, even if you think, Arjuna, I spoke the science of soul, but because I can understand you are in so much bodily consciousness, you are feeling so much excessive attachment, you might not have fully understood what I spoke, the science of soul. So it doesn't matter. Even if you think you want to remain in bodily consciousness, okay, let it be so. You remain in bodily consciousness, but even at bodily consciousness, at the level of material dharma, bhautik dharma, still, because you are a kshatriya, okay, you don't think yourself to be spirit soul and that you are my servant, eternally part and parcel of myself. Okay, you think of yourself as a kshatriya. At least think of yourself as a kshatriya. Then also this is your duty. You should not avoid this fact. That's why the specific word Krishna is using here, swadharmam. Swadharmam api chaveksha. That means Krishna is emphasizing that even if you think that your swadharma is a kshatriya dharma, even if you think that you are a kshatriya, which you are not, of course. I have already explained that you are not this body, and this body is a kshatriya. So you do not belong to this any of the bodily designation. Arjuna, you should understand. But because we are so much absorbed in bodily consciousness, that this simple instruction that I am not this body doesn't penetrate our heart. Is it so difficult? We simply have to accept. What to speak of other people, even devotees or religious people, so-called religious people, they accept Bhagavad Gita, teachings of Bhagavad Gita. Uh, they speak that, okay, we accept Krishna, we accept Bhagavad Gita. But why, if you accept Bhagavad Gita, then why don't you accept that you are not this body? No, we accept that also. We are not this body. We are spirit soul. Then why you do not act on the platform of spirit soul? Why you are still working on the platform of body? Why are you still maintaining this me and mine behavior, considering yourself to be the body? Give up this body identification then. If you think that Bhagavad Gita is authorized book of knowledge, then the first instruction Lord Krishna gave that you are not this body. So why are you maintaining the same attachment with the body and the things and people related with the body? It does not make any sense. The simple answer is people, most of the population in this age of Kali, because of influence of mode of ignorance and passion, and less spiritually powerful. So even though they may know, they may apparently accept the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, but still they are unable to follow it. This is a fact. That's why. That's why, in order to gradually bring them to the platform of self-realization, so Lord Krishna gave this karma kanda. Karma kanda is very important actually, in one sense. Although for us, for devotees, they actually practically they do not at all appreciate karma kandi activity, because it is a great obstacle in the performance of pure devotional service to Krishna. Rather, it is mentioned as an offense to the holy name, chanting of the holy name. Thus, Nama Prad in the ten holy name offense, this is one of the great offense. To think that chanting of the holy name of Krishna is a karma kanda activity. If one has this idea, then he cannot progress in pure devotional service to Krishna. So this is great obstacle. But actually, if we analyze, but this karma kanda is very important for those people who cannot give up bodily consciousness at once. Although it is very simple, it's not so difficult thing, not at all difficult. One just have to accept that Bhagavad Gita is authorized book of knowledge, Supreme Lord Krishna is Supreme Lord, and whatever Krishna has spoken in the Bhagavad Gita, that is absolute truth. If somebody can accept this fact, then immediately, okay, Krishna is telling I'm not this body. So why should I identify myself with this body, and why should I think that those people and things and objects and place of birth belongs to me? Immediately one should get relief from this bodily identification attachment. But because of influence of Kali, modes of material nature are so powerful that people are unable to accept it. That's why this section is actually promoting the importance of karma kanda also. So Krishna is focusing on Kshatriya dharma. Kshatriya dharma. That Arjuna, even if you think that you are a Kshatriya, okay, doesn't forget it. That you are a spirit soul. You are thinking you are too attached materially. So still you should follow at least such Kshatriya dharma, so that you can get elevated to Swarga, higher planets. That will be explained in the next verse. Krishna will explain. But in this particular verse, Krishna is instructing Arjuna that at least you behave on the platform of material platform also. At least you behave properly. You accept that fighting for religious principle, dharma di yudhyashraya, fighting for religious principle is akshatriya dharma, which is very important. So you cannot avoid it. So why, just for the sake, just because you are getting some emotional attachment for your relatives who are standing in front of you, you cannot avoid your Kshatriya dharma. That is not na vikampitum arhasi. Na vikampitum arhasi means you do not deserve to hesitate to lift your weapons in order to kill Dronacharya and Bhishma. That is the meaning of na vikampitum arhasi. That means you should stand in front of them and shoot arrows, even if it pains your heart, because that is your dharma, even if you think your body. So Swadharma. So Swadharma here refers to misidentifying dharma. When one is misidentifying oneself with the body, then this Swadharma becomes the Kshatriya dharma, Brahmin dharma, Vaishya dharma, Shudra dharma. brahmachari, sannyas dharma, grahastha dharma, vanaprastha dharma. All these are bodily relationship dharma. So this is, but our actual Swadharma is what? Swa means ourself, and we know, those who know actually, those who accept teaching of Bhagavad Gita, so they know we are not this body. So we are spirit soul, eternal part and parcel and servant of Krishna. So our Swadharma means our dharma is to serve Krishna, fully surrender to Krishna, follow his dictation, then it is finished. But those who consider Swa, self, to be this body, then if the body is Brahmin, then they have to do Brahman Dharma. Then if the body is Kshatriya, then they have to do Kshatriya Dharma. If they think that this body is Vaishya or Shudra or Brahmachari or Grahastha or Vanaprastha or Sannyas, then they have to do it. That is necessary. As long as one has not come out of bodily designation, then he has to follow the Swadharma. Swadharma means that bodily dharma. That Krishna also explained in Bhagavatam while teaching to Uddhava, that he says, Tavat karmani kurvita. Karma, karma means to follow the Swadharma. Swadharma means bodily dharma. That if one is Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas, so each and every one and ashram has got a specific particular dharma or duties to follow. So that is known as, according to Shastra, that is actually known as karma. Most of the people, they don't even know what is karma. Karma is not whatever nonsense or concocted activities we perform in this world just to gratify our senses. That is not karma. That is vikarma. Very clear. Shastras say that is vikarma. If you are doing any activity just for the sake of sense enjoyment, that is vikarma. Vikarma means vikrit karma or polluted karma or sinful activity. And for that one has to suffer. That is sure, guaranteed. But karma means that one should follow the scriptures and whatever prescriptions have been given according to one's nature. According to one's nature, one is either Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, or Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas in different ashramas, Varna. So accordingly, then he has been prescribed to follow certain kind of duties, and that is actually called as karma. So, but this karma also has to be performed only till the time one is still in bodily consciousness. Dehatma buddhi. Tavat karmani kurvita na nirvidyeta yavata. Na nirvidyeta. Nirvidyeta means till the time one has not become neutral, one has not transcended, one has not satiated by performing material activities. Na nirvidyeta yavata. Mad katha shravanado va shraddha yavan na jayate. Till the time one has not developed a little taste for serving Krishna's lotus feet by hearing and glorifying Krishna with faithfully. Till that time, one has to perform the prescribed duties, dharma of his varna or ashram. Otherwise, he will get sinful reaction. But those who are situated in transcendental state, those who have accepted the authority of Krishna, and those who accept that we are not this body, spirit, soul, our only duty is to fully surrender to Krishna. So they can give up all other karma. They can fully surrender to Krishna. So that is Swadharma. That is actually Swadharma is to act on the platform of spirit soul. That means in service of Krishna. So, but otherwise, in bodily consciousness, because Arjuna is still considering himself to this body. He has not immediately came out of bodily consciousness. So Krishna is immediately directing him that okay, you follow your dharma. At least you follow your Kshatriya dharma. And then dharmyadhi yudhyashreyavanyat. For Kshatriya asna vidyate. For a Kshatriya, there is no better dharma than fighting for religious cause. There is no better dharma. So there is no a greater dharma than fighting for good cause, religious cause. So this is what Krishna is explaining. And we'll discuss more about this verse tomorrow by after reading purport. Today we'll take, if you have some questions, you can ask. Then wait a minute. Hare Krishna. Yes, Ankita Matani, you have some question. Wait a minute. Yes, now you can unmute and ask.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु, पहले दूसरे का ले लेते हैं प्रभु, कम क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं। हरे कृष्ण
ओके।
धन्यवाद।
यस। वैष्णो देवी माता जी।
प्रभु जैसे 30 एंड 31 वर्सेस में बताया गया कि जो मतलब बड़े रहते हैं उन कभी रोना व्यर्थ है, बट ये मतलब मटेरियल लाइफ में ये पॉसिबल नहीं है क्योंकि
आपका
लोग रोते
आवाज
ही
कट गया
रहते
बीच में।
हैं
आपका
छोड़
आवाज
के।
नेटवर्क पे नहीं है प्रॉपर।
दंडवत है प्रभु। पोस्ट से जो आपने बताया ना, हम ब्राह्मण क्षत्रिय इस तरह से अलग अलग कर्मों को करना, तो अगर हम पोस्ट से अटैचमेंट जितना जल्दी छोड़ दें कि हम ये है ही नहीं, जो ये उपाधि जैसी है हमारी, तो वो कर्म भी हमें करने की आवश्यकता फिर नहीं होगी ना। धीरे धीरे हम कृष्णा की तरफ अगर सरेंडर करते जाएंगे, तो वो कर्म से भी अटैच नहीं होंगे ना, ब्राह्मण क्षत्रिय वैश्य जो भी हमें दिया हुआ है इस जन्म
यस।
में टैग। हरे कृष्ण।
यस। One has to become completely free from bodily designation, then he can give up all other karma and simply do the highest karma. So serving Krishna 24 hours, that is highest karma. So he is already engaged in higher activity. So then there is no need to perform lower dharma, lower activities. Okay.
आ रही है प्रभु।
आ रही
प्रभु
है।
मेरा ये क्वेश्चन है, जैसे 30 वर्स एंड 31 वर्स में बताया गया, 30 वर्स में बताया गया है कि मतलब ये जो बॉडी है हमारी, इसमें जो रहता है उसकी डेथ कभी नहीं होती, तो इसके लिए मतलब रोना व्यर्थ है, अशुभाना, ये सारी चीजें बेकार है, व्यर्थ है। और 31 में तो, बट मटेरियल लाइफ में ये पॉसिबल नहीं होता है क्योंकि लोग पता नहीं, ये शायद भौतिक आसक्ति की वजह से लोग मतलब ये अश्रु बहाने का कार्य करते हैं शायद। और जहां तक मुझे समझ में, और
ओके, मैं
थर्टी
समझ गया
वन
क्वेश्चन
वर्सेस
आपका।
पे,
क्वेश्चन क्या है? मैं समझ गया क्वेश्चन क्या है आपका एग्जैक्ट।
क्वेश्चन मेरा ये है 31 वर्सेस से, कि जैसे कि मतलब अर्जुन को ये बताया कि धर्म के लिए युद्ध करना तुम्हारा सर्वश्रेष्ठ कार्य है और इसे तुम निसंकोच होकर करो, तो क्या ये मतलब ये मतलब ये समाज में भी इसी तरह की, क्या हमें गलत के खिलाफ आवाज उठाना चाहिए? और वहां पे हमें रोकने के लिए बहुत सारे लोग होते हैं, तो क्या मतलब उनका
नहीं नहीं
विरोध
नहीं
करना
नहीं।
चाहिए?
नहीं नहीं, आपने पूरा लेक्चर लगता है ध्यान से नहीं सुन पाई, क्योंकि नेटवर्क से आज फ्लक्चुएट हुआ है। आप नहीं समझ पाए। भगवान कृष्ण अर्जुन को उसके स्वधर्म या क्षत्रिय धर्मों को पालन करने के लिए क्यों प्रेरित कर रहे हैं? वो इसलिए नहीं प्रेरित कर रहे हैं क्योंकि ये सर्वश्रेष्ठ है। वो इसलिए भगवान बोल रहे हैं क्योंकि फॉर द टाइम बिंग अर्जुन जो है बॉडी कॉन्शियसनेस से आ ही नहीं पा रहा है। पूरा गीता का, आत्मा का, विज्ञान का लेक्चर दे दिए भगवान, फिर भी अर्जुन का चेहरा देख के समझ गए भगवान फिर भी अटैच है, अपने आप को अभी तक शरीर ही समझ रहा है। तो भगवान बोले ठीक है, फॉर द टाइम बिंग कम से कम आप ये सोच करके तो युद्ध करो कि भाई ये आपका धर्म है, क्षत्रिय धर्म है, क्षत्रियों का धर्म होता है ये युद्ध करना धर्म की रक्षा के लिए। तो करो, तो कम से कम ये तो करो। इसीलिए जो लोग बॉडी कॉन्शियसनेस से ऊपर उठ ही नहीं सकते, अपने आप को समझ ही नहीं सकते कि हम कृष्ण के सनातन दास है, इसे कृष्ण की सेवा करना चाहिए, तो उनको बोलते हैं अरे तुम ब्राह्मण हो भाई, नारायण का पूजा तो करो, ब्राह्मण हो आप, ये कैसे कर रहे हो? तो हाँ मैं ब्राह्मण हूँ, हाँ अच्छा अच्छा, मुझे नारायण का पूजा करना चाहिए, हाँ मैं तो ब्राह्मण हूँ, कम से कम ये धर्म को मान के तो करो। अरे तुम क्षत्रिय हो भाई, तुम भी धर्म के लिए करो, यज्ञ करो, ब्राह्मणों को और वैष्णवों को जो है सपोर्ट करो धर्म के आचरण करने के लिए, क्षत्रिय का धर्म होता है, तो करेगा। वैश्य, अरे आप वैश्य हो भाई, वैश्य मतलब आपको चैरिटी देना चाहिए, धार्मिक कार्यों के लिए करो। और शूद्र है तो शूद्र को बोलेंगे, इतना धार्मिक कार्य होता है, शूद्र का कर्तव्य होता है कि वो ब्राह्मण क्षत्रिय वैश्य जो धर्म के कार्य में लगे उनको जाके सहायता करो, काम करो उनके लिए, तो ये आपका धर्म है। तो कम से कम इस बहाने उनको भौतिक प्रलोभन देकर के ये आप करोगे तो फिर आपको प्रमोशन होगा, आप बेटर सेंट्रिफिकेशन, सुख समृद्धि, घर आवे, कष्ट मिटे तन का, ये होगा। ये किसके लिए है? जो सब कुछ सारे शास्त्र के इंस्ट्रक्शन सुनने के बावजूद भी ये नहीं समझ सकते हैं कि हम शरीर नहीं है, आत्मा है, हमको कृष्ण को समर्पण करना चाहिए पूर्ण तरीके से, जिनके दिमाग में नहीं घुस सकता इमीडिएटली, तो उनके ऊपर कृपा करने के लिए ये कर्म कांड धर्म, वर्णाश्रम धर्म के नियम बताए गए हैं, जो कि बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है एक्चुअली में, क्योंकि इससे फिर धीरे धीरे वो पुण्य अर्जन करते हैं और फिर धीरे धीरे उस इस अवस्था में आ सकते हैं कि वो फिर आत्मविज्ञान को स्वीकार करके पूरी तरह से कृष्ण को समर्पण कर लें। लेकिन ऐसा कभी नहीं सोचते। अच्छा, वो आपने प्रश्न पूछ दिया, क्योंकि कई लोग होते हैं ये मिसअंडरस्टैंड कर लेते हैं, वो सोचते हैं देखो भगवान ने भी तो बोला अर्जुन को क्षत्रिय धर्म करने के लिए, अरे क्यों बोला ये तो समझिए। वो सर्वश्रेष्ठ धर्म नहीं है। वो इसलिए बोला क्योंकि अर्जुन को गीता का, आत्मा का ज्ञान देने के बाद भी देखे अर्जुन मुंह लटका के बैठा हुआ है, आसक्ति बनी हुई है। तो वहां बोले ठीक है, कम से कम क्षत्रिय समझ के तो बाबा आप युद्ध करो, युद्ध छोड़ के मत जाओ, पाप तो मत करो कम से कम। ये है। ठीक है। ओके। हरे कृष्ण। ठीक है, तो ये दोनों
धन्यवाद
वर्ष।
प्रभु जी। यही
हरे
मैं
कृष्ण।
काफी देर से।
ठीक है,
हरे
अभी
कृष्ण,
क्लियर है ना
दंडवत
इतना?
प्रणाम प्रभु जी।
ओके। हरे कृष्ण।